Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody, and happy Saturday morning. All right. I've got a lot of stuff in here for you today. Again, we're just going to do one long video because, frankly, I'm just tired. I also have a message for you guys, and I wanted to show you what happened here this morning in the morning. So I've got a lot going on in here. So let's just jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. All right. So I want to start off. Do you see this tweet above, or this comment from one of my subscribers? Here's a message for you guys. Morning, everybody. Okay, I'm going to make this statement. I'm only going to say it once because I've already said it before, and for some reason, people just aren't sucking this into their brains. Everybody's like, Trump was in power when Harry came in. Trump was in power. Don't blame. And your Trump is showing. I am not political. I'm not going there with you guys. It's just not going to happen, okay? However, Harry, more than likely, as it was pointed out, had a diplomatic visa, diplomatic passport that allowed him to come in and out and in and out and in and out, but it would have expired. And by the time it expired and he applied for paperwork, Biden was in office. That's simple. If Biden didn't have something to hide, they would release his paperwork. They're not releasing the paperwork. If the Democrats lose the presidential election, whoever takes over as Republican is going to release that paperwork. And then we'll know what really happened. But you guys keep trying to turn me into politics, and it's just not going to happen. I've told you before, I think both sides need new people, preferably people under 60. Don't hurt me. I'm so sick of these 80-something-year-olds running. New blood. We need new blood on both sides. That's all I'm going to say. So before everybody starts screaming, it was Trump that let him in and Biden's... That's not what happened, guys. Now let's get into the good stuff. Now, I wanted to show you this picture. Believe it or not, I stepped out in the morning on my back deck, looked up. That's the moon. The picture doesn't really show it. It was as clear as day. And I thought, wow, that's the back side of the house. Now here's the front side of the house. Here it comes. Oh. So nice here in the mornings. Beautiful. All right, we're starting off this morning with the Royals with Zara. She was day 2 of the, Land Rover horse trials that we talked about. I think she looks fabulous. Obviously, I wish they had better weather. It seems like it's constantly raining. Or maybe that's normal weather there, I don't know. And then you see these pictures and it's sunny. Yeah, okay, whatever. Good for her. Love the horse. Love her. Moving on. Next up, I showed you guys the other day where the whole family went to church and Andrew was in the back of the car on the way to church and was in the front seat on the way back from church. And you could see the look on Catherine's face. I mean, they weren't happy. Well, come to find out, William and Catherine were ordered to take Andrew in the car. No, he's not going to make his way back. Not going to make his way back to public duty. It's not going to happen, but they're trying to make people realize that he's still a member of the family. But it's being said that William did not appreciate being used in that way. But I understand why Charles did it. William is one of the most popular members of the royal family. I get it. All right, moving on. All right, let's turn our attention back to The Spare for just a minute. We know that this book was published in January. It's being reported it's already decreased in value significantly for the past few months, and it's now considered one of the least valuable books based on its resale price. Am I supposed to be shocked? Because, I'm not. They're saying if you want to resell it, it's just 34% of its original value. Now that puts it 8th in the list of the least valuable resale books. Now we know, you guys, do we not, that when The Spare first came out, it supposedly, I'm air quoting, supposedly, allegedly, was one of the best-selling nonfiction books because it sold 1.43 million copies in different formats. But then we found out that they were giving the book away for free if you got it digitally. And even though it was given away for free, those numbers are still added into total sales, believe it or not. Then we know that Harry did the online, psych eval with that guy, that even when Harry said, I had a good childhood, the guy looked at him and said, no, you didn't. And Harry goes, I didn't? He was diagnosed with all kinds of things. But the point was, when you paid money to watch this train wreck, guess what? You were sent another book. Okay, that was also put into the total sales numbers of the book that supposedly made it a bestseller. Okay? And of course, we realized later on that booksellers were lowering the price of the books months before the book was even launched, because apparently the interest in it wasn't that great. So people were like, you know what? Don't pay us £55 for this book. You can get a deal, 50% off, £28. All right. I mean, they started cutting the price before it even came out. And this was all so that Penguin Random House could say it was a best-selling book. It already went out. All these people. You guys, it's all smoke and mirrors. And keep in mind that if bookstores bought the books and they weren't altered, if Harry didn't sign them and they weren't altered, the bookstores have the right to return the books. Okay? This is absolutely no different than what happened with Meghan's book. It was not a bestseller. It did not do well. Rumors were out that she bought a ton of them for herself and she was giving them to libraries because she wanted to make sure the book got, out there. And everybody was like, ooh, it's on the New York bestsellers list. But that actually has nothing to do with the numbers per se. This is all sleight of hand, you guys. They do this on a regular basis to make you think that they're just these best-selling authors. And they're not, okay? Don't fall for it. It's not true. Well, after all of that, it came out that Harry's book was the most dumped book of the summer, with tourists leaving the book behind in hotel rooms and pools. And the hotels now can't even get rid of them. They're everywhere. I mean, the embarrassment. Could you imagine? In 100 years, nobody's going to care about this book. It's not going to be in a museum. People are going to be like, oh my God, what an entitled jerk. All right, moving on to the next story. How many times have we heard from Harry how horrible it was that, he was forced to walk behind his mother's coffin? We all heard about it. We've heard about it multiple times. It psychologically scarred him, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, as is usual, and as I've said before, when you say something, it's out there forever, right? Listen to this.
Commentary on Diana. Princes William and Harry have now spoken about the role Prince Charles played in the days immediately after their mother's death. The brothers were at Balmoral when they were told what happened on that night in 1997. Their father was, said Harry, there for us. He tried to make sure we were protected, he said. And both princes support the decision of the Queen to keep them in Scotland, away from the public and press. They talked too of the decision to walk behind their mother's coffin. William said it was the hardest thing he's ever done. Harry said on reflection he is glad that he was part of it.
So with that, I have to say recollections may vary, because not only does he admit, or has he admitted in the past, that his father was there for him, but now he also admits his father took him to Africa, helped him through everything, but it's like he wants to forget everything his father did for him. So I agree with what the Centerview wrote. Harry is addicted to his depression. That's his happy place. He doesn't want to move on. He doesn't want to get better. I agree. His childhood trauma gives him the perfect excuse to be an underachiever. He is self-sabotaging himself. And because, if he's isolated, depressed, and dejected, then, nobody can save him. I have to say I agree. I believe that Harry wants to live in this circle of pain. Now, there is an Aussie radio host who was homeless as a teenager, if you can imagine that. And he watched Invictus and he said he is so sick of listening to Harry whine and complain. Yes, we all are. You know, he was homeless as a teenager, and Harry had such a privileged life, and yet he continues to whine. This is what upsets people. You know what I'm saying? And then not only is he whining, but he's lying. So now people who have been supporting Harry are coming out against Harry. Former Royal Marine Ben McBean, he's a double amputee. He lost an arm and a leg when he stepped on a landmine in Afghanistan in 2008. And he was 20 when that happened. And apparently it's being reported that he is one of the people who inspired Harry to start the Invictus Games. But he has now spoken out against Harry's claim that the press overlooked wounded troops. And he said, and I'm quoting, "I still love Harry, but I have to disagree. I'm not sure what media he's on about, but I know the British media did cover veterans for years." He stated, again, I'm quoting, "I've had his back for 15 years and I've always championed him, but that doesn't mean I have to agree with everything that comes out of his mouth. On this one, Harry is wrong. One of the only positive post-injuries was how the media supported the troops. They did not write us off, and they told the world about us and our disabilities." Unbelievable. Good for him speaking out against Harry. He said, "To claim that media outlets weren't fighting for our injured servicemen is offensive and untrue." You know, in 2007, a year before Harry even went on tour, a ex-Royal Green Jacket, Bryn Parry, and his wife launched Help for Heroes when they realized that Headley Court needed a swimming pool for wounded vets. And the Sun joined forces with that charity, and with the readers' help, they raised $8 million for a pool and gym at the center, and then set up recovery centers, which is now used by 27,000 veterans. Okay? That was a year before Harry even deployed. I am extremely happy to know that this entire thing from Harry, which was put out in mainstream media on Netflix, you know how that works, that this guy had the bravery to stand up and say, "Harry, you're wrong." Because a lot of people aren't willing to do that. You know what I mean? He's Harry. So I agree with this Twitter user. Everybody wants the Invictus Games to be a success for the veterans, but now Harry's using it for his private little vendettas, and a lot of the wounded veterans and the heads are coming out to challenge him. Good. Now you guys should know they are not the first people to speak out and condemn Harry for things that he's written and said in the mainstream media. Another family has stepped up. This is the family of Derek Hunt. Their son Nathan served as a bomb disposal expert in 2008 with Harry. He took his own life in January of 2018. And an ex-Army medical health expert has said that several people have stepped forward approaching him after Harry's comments about how many people he knocked off the chessboard. Know what I mean? Harry's always talking about flashbacks. Well, a lot of veterans felt that his comments triggered flashbacks about their time in combat, and it was very irresponsible. I happen to agree completely. Now, you guys may not be aware, or maybe you are, that Invictus Games was set up with not only Catherine and William, but the Ministry of Defense. And now it's making a little bit more sense that the Ministry of Defense scrapped its long-standing association with the Invictus Games last year, seeing where it was headed. Changing direction just a little bit, you guys know that Harry took Better Up, which is a commercial thing that he's involved in, and he put it together with the Invictus Games. Okay, they've renewed their partnership. And I've told you guys before that I felt that that was very unethical to do that, because they're not a mental health. They're more like a mental fitness. It's not the same thing. I mean, let's not forget that Better Up just laid off over 100 of their employees while they're paying, Harry a 7-figure salary. And as another issue with Invictus Games, we know that this is supposed to be about the injured former servicemen, and instead Harry has used this to air his grievances yet again. He's like a broken record. And all of this whining is really starting to get on people's nerves. People have real problems. So really quickly, we've already debunked most of these. Let's just touch really quickly again on the 6 big things that came out from Invictus, okay? First, he took another dig at his family. Nobody supported him. Nobody helped him. We've already debunked that. He said things, other to that. It's debunked. 2, it triggered the death of his mother. Again, he never sought help. We know that's not true either. 3, he made a comment about the uniforms. And I believe he made those comments because he's upset that he's not allowed to wear his honorary uniform anymore because the honorary titles were stripped from him. Number 5, we've already discussed this too. He dropped the F-bomb while offering his advice to people in the Invictus games. Nobody needs your filthy mouth. 6 is that Meghan has to soothe Harry all the time. Well, that's not a big surprise. We all know that she acts like his mother. Yeah, okay. And next up, after that, circumstances cause an outpouring of emotion. This man has been in therapy almost his whole life. I think he's over-therapied. So what's the point to all of this? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the point is Harry and Meghan really needed this to be a #1 great thing on Netflix, and instead it has flopped with audiences. It did not break into the daily Netflix top 10 streaming chart in America or Britain since it was released on the 30th. It is a flop. There you go. The other Netflix thing they did, Live to Lead, also didn't make the Netflix top 10 charts. It was overlooked by media and critics. And, the only thing that got them anything on Netflix was when they slammed the royal family. And supposedly they're not doing that anymore. Then it came out that bad reviews, less than 10 out of 10, are being deleted. Yes, they are trying to manipulate the ratings for this docuseries. So the question is, or the question was, I should say, will Meghan be joining Harry at the Invictus Games in Europe? Well, we know that a spokesman came out and said, absolutely yes, she will be at the Invictus Games in Germany, which starts on the 9th, goes through the 16th. But she will not be there on the 9th. She's arriving several days later. While Harry will be there from the very beginning, Meghan's not going to be there, in the initial. So we're not going to get the whole catwalk thing with the hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of clothing. Well, we probably still will. You just won't get it, at the very beginning. That's the point. This being said, she is going to host a segment in the closing ceremony that's supposed to cover the courage of service personnel. So one of my subscribers made a comment that it looked like Meghan was not going to be there now, and she was replaced as the moderator at the closing ceremonies by a different woman. So I had to jump right all over that. First of all, here is a detailed list of what's going on during the opening ceremonies. And sure enough, the closing ceremonies, it lists everybody, and you can clearly see where it says life stories. That's the part that Meghan's supposed to do. And somebody else's name is now on there. Very interesting. Now with that, a German magazine, well, first you can see all this stuff on Twitter. She was scheduled. Now news reports came out saying Meghan wasn't going to be there. And then a German magazine, this is the English translation of it, is saying that no, she's not going to be there. So you have to wonder, did she pull out because she realizes how much people don't want her there? Or is there something going on behind the scenes? She's not going with Harry to the well child either. Could she be clearing out the house, getting her affairs in order, getting ready to file for divorce? Could something else be happening? It'll be very interesting to see what's going to happen. Maybe she'll just show up to support Harry. Maybe not. And in the meantime, the Royal Rogue has brought out that new poll numbers show Meghan's popularity in the UK is about as low as it can go. Well, maybe she realizes nobody wants her there. I'll keep an eye on this, you guys. All right, you guys. Now, my next video will be on Monday morning. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell. If you've already hit that button, double check, make sure you're still subscribed. Don't forget to leave your comments below, make them good. Don't forget to go into the description box and get the links to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, and my physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund or through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.